It's Monday. It's your girl Candy Caitlin.
And your boy Shoutown Shout.
And it's 6 o'clock, so it's time to
Pull up.
every Monday here on DFWIRadio.com. We talk.
Sports, news, hip hop.
We don't talk about people.
We just give you the facts.
Listen, guys, we just remind you we don't talk about people. We talk about the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna go ahead and get started, Mr. Shaw. It is Western. It's close to the NBA Finals, right? We have the Western Conference Finals going on. We have the Eastern Conference Finals going on. We have the Sixers. Why did I say the Sixers? The Clippers and the Suns tonight, and the Clippers are down 3-1 to the Suns. Game 5. Can the Suns? Can the Suns close it out, or will the Clippers get a win and be able to push this series 6?
I'm gonna say it's gonna go 6. We're gonna go at least another game so the NBA can get their money. Right? I'm at the point after being in Vegas. Everybody trying to get their money. NBA gonna get their money. Vegas gonna get their money. So they gonna want to see it go 6. Right? They gonna want the Suns to struggle tonight. Right? So we're gonna see. But I do believe that. What time does the game even start? My bookie is in Costa Rica, so I can't even bet. I gotta go to FanDuel.
It's a West Coast game, so I think 8 Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 8 Eastern, the game kicks off. I don't know. I think that Paul George has been what we've said. Paul George has been from start to finish. He's been streaky. They don't have Kawhi. This Clippers team comes down to what role players can show up. And what is it? What's the kid's name with the twist? Terrence
Mann.
Terrence Mann, who showed up in the series, right? But what if Terrence Mann showed up? Reggie Jackson showed up all the time, and Paul George was the leader and the star on that team that he's supposed to be.
They still wouldn't be enough to beat the Phoenix.
You don't think so? Because they have one win. You only need 4 in a series.
They got that one win, and I think Devin Booker had his worst game, probably one of his worst games of his first playoffs. So you need Chris Paul to play bad, you need Devin Booker to play bad. DeAndre Ayton they got nothing for him. That's really the key ingredient. DeAndre Ayton has been a nightmare mismatch, and the reason why Phoenix could win the finals is once you get to Milwaukee, it's the same thing, right? Who you gonna put on? Brook Lopez? You're gonna give him the work. He's more athletic. He's younger. He's longer. Pause. So DeAndre Ayton really is the X factor for the Phoenix Suns.
And that's all you need, right? That's what they're showing us in the series because remember, Phoenix came alive.
Oh yeah, Candy Caitlin is gone. She left the show, so I got it on my own. I was over here finna pick lineups for FanDuel tonight, but I ain't even gonna get to do that. It's Candy Caitlin gone, so eventually Candy Caitlin will come back. We were talking about the Phoenix Suns and Los Angeles Clippers. Like I said, I just put in a FanDuel lineup. It is hard for me to just see a team without both star players. It's hard for me to see them being able to win the series, right? Because you need your stars, right? Role players come through. Candy Caitlin is back. Like I said, the reason why, and then in LA, so come on, Kennedy, I need you to carry the show why I picked these lineups. But what I was saying was, so as I'm picking my lineups, they're in LA tonight. I feel like players play better at home. So when I do my lineups, that's how I look at it. I'm gonna go with the home team's role players because it's rare that on the road a role players again. You're a role player for a reason. That means you're not consistent enough to be a star, right? You got star, all-star, superstar, right? You got levels to it. Star, all-star, superstar. So you can be a star role player, right? I don't know if you can be an all-star role player unless you play on a superstar team, but you could be a star role player. That means you star in your role, right? An all-star means someone guaranteed every night you're going to come out and get at least 18 to 20 points. Right, we
Kawhi Leonard, Devin Booker.
No. 2 of those are super. Kawhi Leonard, super.
Superstar.
Devin Booker on his way to being a super. Paul
Okay.
George, I would have to say, is an all-star because we've had at least 2 years back to back in the playoffs where you didn't, playoff P didn't come alive. You know what I'm saying? So, like again, there's tiers. So for me, I feel like the Clippers get a win tonight because their role players gonna come to play. Their role players gonna hit shots that they've been hitting. They at home. They got sweet spots. They got places where they're comfortable on the court.
And
So
the crowd.
yeah,
The crowd. It's just different when the crowd knows how to bring you alive, and that's something that we hadn't seen since before COVID hit last year, right? So to get fans back in the stand, especially in LA, where you have people courtside, there's stars. I just think it gives a different energy and a different feel.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if the Clippers have what it takes even at home, right? When your back is up against the wall, this is do or die. This is go on vacation and go ahead and go to Cancun, or this is continuing to play for what you start and work for every season, which is a championship,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for the Clippers, it is to do something that has never happened for the Clippers. Something that they've never done. It's to finally get out of the shadows of being the little brothers to the Lakers. Because that's what you've been. You've been the redheaded stepchild. I don't even know if that's politically correct anymore, but that's what you know what I'm saying? You are like, you're there, but you're never there type deal in LA is what you've been all of these years. Now is your chance. So I would actually like to see the Clippers make this a hell of a series. There's no Kawhi. You're down one. We know that. But that's a part of basketball. You can't make excuses. You got to play with what you have.
Facts.
Chris Paul was out, which is their point guard, their facilitator, which helps Devin Booker spread the floor so that he can get his shots. They were minus him. They won without him. He came back, and Chris Paul was on the ball too often, not giving Devin Booker the opportunity to score and spread the floor out like he needed to in the last game. So there are a lot of factors that come into play when we're talking this level of basketball at this point in the season. You're also tired. You had a short off season for those that were in the bubble last year. People have had COVID. We've seen people's lungs not develop, take a while to redevelop and get back into playing shape. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of flat factors. I would like to see the Clippers stay in this. Okay? Now, when we move over to the Eastern Conference, where we have the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks, again, we're going to see a different NBA champion for the first time in a long time. Someone that these are not even teams I thought that, we've been having the conversation about Milwaukee, but people have been questioning whether Milwaukee had enough to do it. And I'm still...
Milwaukee. You ain't getting away with that, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Okay? Let me live, Mr. John. But we've talked about Giannis. We've talked about Giannis having limited range. Last night he shot an air ball. I do not. And I think because I'm a girl, and girls basketball is so different from guys. Women's basketball is so different from men's basketball. Okay? The basic fundamentals of the game are how you start and how you finish. And that's what the WNBA is consistent of. That's what, the girls' game, college game, you have to do the basics. So to see a Giannis who knows that he can't shoot, take a three-pointer, sir, it's not necessary. And I understand that's what this new game has become, but that is not your game. It's a wasted opportunity of a possession.
I agree. I just respect him shooting the shot, man. Like,
why?
Because Ben Simmons wouldn't take it at all.
But let's take basketball IQ was about taking high probability shots.
Look, I'm fine with that. I agree with that. High probability shot. But don't be afraid to shoot it. Okay? Don't take 10 of them, but don't be afraid to shoot at least 2. You should not be afraid to shoot at least 2 threes a game. That is not outrageous. 2 to 3 threes a game, even if that's not your shot. That's not a bad position. 2 to 3. And then if he's shooting 5 to 6, bad. But at least make them be honest of your shot. What if Ben Simmons is gonna get traded to a team that don't need him to score? Right? He's gonna be the first superstar, because that's what he has potential to be And that's what people treat him as. Or first, back-to-back All-Star. Because, again, if he keep going to All-Star games, he's a superstar.
No, not really.
You go to 10 All-Star games, you're a superstar. You go to anything over 5 All-Star games, you're a superstar. Because over 5 years in a row, you were getting voted into the All-Star game, right? So, subpar players don't get voted to the All-Star game. Think about it. Think about it.
I get it.
So
for me, Giannis has limited game. We understand. I'm fine with him running the lanes. I'm fine from him getting inside, dunking. Because I argue this daily that he's a big. He plays a traditional bigs game. There is no need to have a wasted possession, in my opinion. Nothing behind the 3-point line should he be shooting unless he just happens to have the ball in his hands and they need a 3 to win. I'm giving the ball. Chris Middleton needs the ball. And I think that even as superstars, we need to be realistic about what our game consists of. And I think that's what we're seeing in the playoffs with teams that don't have Steph Curry's and Klay Thompson's. Trae Young can pull the trigger. Devin Booker can pull the trigger. Jamal Murray can pull the trigger. Donovan Mitchell can pull the trigger. Giannis, don't pull the trigger. That's not. Get Chris Middleton the ball. And if I can't count on Giannis to get the ball inside on the block to score and possibly pick up the foul, that's the only 3 I want from him. I do not want wasted possessions, especially with the. Say that again.
I just don't want him to be scared.
I don't want him to be scary, but I want you to take a dribble and get to the free throw line, right? To get to the elbow.
I ain't mad.
I want you to take a shot from the elbow. Elbow in is your game. 10-foot, even the 10-foot corners, the 10 and 12-foot jumpers, the things that we've seen Akeem Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing. I need you to develop your game in the summer. And if you're going to be a big that takes that shot, you need to don't waste a possession. And when you shoot an air ball, you are wasting a possession. It doesn't look good. It's not like Trae Young or Steph is pulling up from half court because the clock is running down and you shoot a 3. There's time on the clock in a viable possession because that can cost you, right? If Atlanta had a little bit more star power, you would be in a hell of a lot of trouble. And Trae Young got hurt. They moved the ball well in Atlanta. I'm not sold on this Atlanta team. I'd like to see Nate McMillan pull it out just because he's a black coach. That's honest. But I don't think Atlanta has what it takes to win 2 games at this point.
They definitely got to get him some more help.
In Milwaukee. Yeah, he needs more help.
You mean
in
Atlanta?
Yeah, and I don't think Atlanta can do it 2 games against Milwaukee. Atlanta definitely needs more help for Trae Young. Because you have streaky players, and that's what we go back to. Like, you have... I'm not going to even say that way. You have some players that I feel like we have a tendency to overpay certain players, so then you're stuck with them in contract.
Well, look, none of them are paid. All of them are rookie deals, except for Bogdanovich. They got him this summer. That's the one. So,
do you think that he has enough of what it takes to help Trae Young win a championship?
I feel like he's a scorer. So third player, 4th best player, best. No, he's not he's not an all-star. He's not.
And he's a scorer.
CJ McCollum and Jamal Murray are the only 2 players I can think off the top of my head that you can win with that aren't all-stars. They can be your second best players that aren't all-stars.
But are they not all-stars because also the position they play, right?
Regardless, Jamal Murray is not all-star. He never been all-star.
No. Being on an all-star team and the ability to compete on an all-star team is what we have to look at. Because, again, guards...
That's probably... that's a maybe. We don't do...
But what I'm saying is there's only so many guards that be on the all-star team.
But is this horseshoes? Or is this basketball?
It's basketball. But I don't have room for 6 guards on the all-star team.
Jamal Murray not an all-star.
So when you're saying that, we're looking at James Harden, we're looking at Steph Curry, we're looking at Klay Thompson. Klay hasn't played in 2 seasons. Yeah, he hasn't played in 2 seasons that we know is an all-star. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at Trae Young. We're looking at Devin Booker. There's a hell of a lot of talent.
All-star team this year.
this year.
You know,
This year. Clay will be back next year. You see what I'm saying? Does that mean that they're not all-stars because they're not making the all-star team? There's not enough all-star to go around when it comes to guard play in the NBA at this time. There's just not enough room.
Regardless of that fact, I say it again, Jamal Murray, CJ McCollum are the only two second players on
options.
Second options that, have all-star ability, but they're not all-stars. Right? They're not.
And that's why I say in this NBA, we can't really use all-star as a barometer for greatness.
Crazy.
and we can't because, like I said, there's just not enough.
Every Hall of Fame we go down the list, they had multiple all-stars.
Yeah, but they were also...
Jamal Murray's never made a first team all NBA.
I'm gonna say he's still young and he still has time. And we're gonna end it right there. I have Milwaukee and Phoenix in the championship.
Son,
I don't gamble, so I may not be right, but those are my predictions based on what I've been able to assess thus far.
When I get a chance, if that happens, I'm putting it on D Book. I'm just, I'm putting it on D Book. I got to roll with my guy.
I think that Chris Paul,
for sure.
I think Chris Paul is a veteran in the game, and veteran leadership knows what you need to do to beat Milwaukee is to stop Giannis.
I don't feel that way. You don't stop a superstar. Superstars stop themselves. You hope the rest of the team don't beat you.
But I don't think anybody but Chris Middleton can really beat you. I don't think
he's
streaky.
Yeah, what you're seeing right now is do not be fooled. This is not Chris Middleton. Do not let him fool you. Okay, I just Jay Hall, I'm good with D Book. Shooter. I just feel like if you play, you let Giannis be Giannis. I really feel like they snuck past Miami Heat because the Heat were both the teams who played in the bubble, who played in the finals in the bubble, it was just hard. You got injured. So all right, so the Milwaukee Bucks caught a great path there. They can be beat.
I agree.
Late in the game, you can foul Giannis, take possessions away from them. Truthfully,
that's it. I mean, and here's the thing: I absolutely make sure that I force Giannis to take the ball. No one else is touching the ball if I need fouls. He can't shoot free throws.
Okay.
And it shows in his face. And like I said, he is your superstar that cannot get you a bucket late in the game if you need 3 points. You don't even have to worry about it. He cannot hit that shot. And I would take money to guard everybody else and be prepared for the rebound before I guarded Giannis at the 3-point line. And that's just, you just see the inconsistency in his face. And when he goes to the free throw line and his pressure is almost like, dang, I know I should be better at this, but let me just make one. I see the defeat, and the fact of, he wants to be great, and so he's going to spend a lot of time working on it. But the inability to shoot free throws and his inability to pull the trigger and shoot a jumper, those are the two things that I would force them to do with him. He would not beat me in the paint. Not consistently. He would get limited fast break points, and he would not be able to camp out in the lane because I take my chance fouling him late in the game. I would use maybe 3 early fouls in the first half, but the end of the game, I'd bring bench players off the bench just to foul him. I wouldn't even worry about it. If we get the ball into him, he got to score, I'm not concerned. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shift our focus. We've been talking, for the last year, we've been talking in football about black coaches and the lack of diversity in the league. And so this week we saw 3 minority hires in the NBA. Boston Celtics now have a black coach. The Dallas Mavericks now have a black coach, and the Portland Trailblazers. 2 of which are former players. Chauncey Billups is now the head coach there in Portland.
Ooh.
And Jason Kidd is now the head coach in Dallas.
All three.
Huh?
All three.
All 3 what?
Former players.
He did play in the league.
Yeah, Neil Long husband.
Yes.
He disrespectful.
I'm sorry. He wasn't a Jason Kidd, right?
No,
Jason Kidd was
Penny was interviewing for the Magic job.
the magic job, right? So I wanted to get to that
I don't
too.
know if Penny a good coach though. I know Penny a great recruit. I don't know if Penny a good coach.
I think that the Penny opportunity in Orlando is an opportunity to steal him away from Memphis, and I think that we need people like Penny Hardaway at the collegiate level. It
I,
also forces the pay conversation at that level, is what people don't understand, because
I
Coach K and Calipari make more than some of the a whole lot of people in the NBA. I'm sure they make a lot of money.
yeah, Cal just got re-signed.
Right. So I don't like. I want them to have opportunities, but I would prefer to see a Penny Hardaway stay at Memphis and recruiting. He was in Duncanville yesterday doing recruit. They were recruiting yesterday in Duncanville. So let's talk about Jason Kidd, and congratulations to all three coaches. I would like to see um I would like to see each of them win, because we have Monty with Phoenix that's in the playoffs. We have Nate McMillan, and we have Clippers
Tyrone Lue.
Tyronn Lue. That's with the Clippers. So there are three African American coaches still alive, and one of them will at least be in the finals. We know that we will see one in the at least one in the finals. Nate McMillan took on this job, and we talked about it here on the show. There in Atlanta, at the start of the season, he was hired after they fired the other black head coach. So there's limited coaches, but Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups to just be getting hired. There has been They're getting hired at a time where cancel culture is alive and well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mark Cuban and Dallas being in a southern region, it's going to be less heat about Jason Kidd and the domestic violence charges that he's had against him previously. And Chauncey Billups has allegedly had some issues with women as well.
Jason might get the benefit of the doubt because the only problem he had while in Dallas, was the first go around and the three J's couldn't get along.
No, he had the domestic violence where he beat the wife up.
I thought that's when he went to play with the Knicks.
It was
over TJ's fries.
Right.
TJ,
but
this right here.
We are in cancel culture, and women, Kendrick Perkins was defending them both today on the jump. The conversation is happening. And we had a conversation previously about him getting the Laker job. And one of the reasons that I felt like it was going to be hard was the domestic violence. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I think
I don't believe no man should put his hands on a woman. But now I don't know the ins and outs of what happened. So when I don't know the ins and outs of domestic violence situations, I try to stay away from it because it's risque. I never want women to think, I'm never gonna say, hey, yeah, this man don't deserve a job because he did A, B, C, and D. I don't know how he repented. I don't know how he's changed his life. I don't feel like your past should define your character. We all make mistakes. He made a mistake. He wasn't right for that. He should get a set. Just let me be honest, and I don't even pull this card because I'm always in the middle. People can say I straddle the fence. And I love everybody. Kenny Kaylin, I love everybody, right?
Unfortunately.
Don't make skin. White men do this shit all the time. White men beat their bitch, come back to work all the time. That's what we doing. And I never use that card, but I'm being honest today. All right. Well, Jason Kidd should be able to do the same thing. White men hit their wives, come back. White men sleep with prostitutes, get caught, come back. Greg Anthony ain't have a job for a few years because of questions about a prostitute. White men been sleeping with prostitutes forever.
And here's my thing, Mr. Shaw.
Did I say something wrong? Was I off topic?
No, you were very much on topic. And as a woman, I want to believe these women, right? And I have understanding and compassion. And as Black culture, we've had to learn not to blame the victim, right? Because in our culture, we've been taught when something happens, you say, well, what did they do, right? What did that woman do that led to that? Because that's just how we're raised. We're raised to understand that it takes two people to create an altercation,
mm-hmm.
right? So it doesn't matter what we say because we're going to be accused of victim blaming, right? We know Stephen A had the whole situation where, because that's just culturally, that's where the difference is. And so with the cancel culture for me, and I was talking to this today with Boots.
That's how you know I don't pay them attention.
I can't get with cancel culture because the reality is we'd all be canceled.
Because we all do something that ain't.
We would all be canceled at some point with no opportunity to create a living for ourselves, especially in what we do. And like I said, it makes it hard to have these conversations because I don't know what's gonna get us canceled. Like, if we're waiting on Twitter to judge us, and I'm not supporting the behavior of abuse in any shape, form, or fashion.
At all.
But we also live in a state where our governor said that we can't even teach domestic violence in school. He voted against it. He voted against it last week. So it's like we don't teach people how to avoid situations, right? We won't teach people how to walk away because these are things that we have to learn in our adult life. These are not things that we learn of how to be in intimate relationships where things get heated and what to do next. No one's teaching that. So these are learning situations, unfortunately, and anybody who's ever been in a relationship that can sit here and tell me that there have never been times that the lines have been blurred and things have gone too far, that somebody had to be an adult and walk away, you're a liar.
You're a liar.
You're a liar. So because it did not leak into the media, because you were not arrested or your partner wasn't arrested, this crap happens with everybody. And
when you're in a conversation with each other as adults, there are times where sometimes you're not trying to hear each other.
Communication issue. Lack of communication breakdown, right? So I don't know what happened in that car. I don't know what Chauncey Billups did, but we do need to remind men to keep their hands to themselves. And ladies, you too. Let's all keep our hands to ourselves and let's be adult enough to walk away. And hey, Texas, when you have an opportunity to teach it, then maybe we wouldn't have to have these conversations on the back end. Jason Kidd started his career in Dallas. Rookie of the year, co-rookie of the year with Grant Hill. He's loved in Dallas. He's had 2 stints with the Mavericks. I think he's going to be a good fit. I think him and Mark Cuban have a relationship where Mark Cuban is going to try and get Luka what he needs. Luka is his primetime player. Jason Kidd has lived in Dallas. As a head coach that has the experience in Dallas, I think he gives the recruitment process a different opportunity because he knows what young players need to come to Dallas. He knows what the life is. He knows what the lifestyle is. He knows what it is to start a family. I think that he's going to be able to recruit to that. Chauncey Billups, for your past experiences, I hope that their past does not become such a distraction that they can't do what they need to do. And as we get ready to go to break, I just want everybody to remember that if everybody gets canceled, we'd all be homeless because where we going to work?
Who going to entertain?
It's just the reality. I just don't think, and we're only having this conversation because that is the conversation in the sports world that's taking place after these guys were hired. If they're the best in the pool, we got to take a shot on the best. And if you were Christian people, Jesus forgives. Who are we? And with that, we're going to go ahead and take our break. It's your girl, Candy K. Lynn.
And your boy, Shaw.
And we'll be right back.
Pull up.